Gather around, heroes, and join me for an in-depth look at the classes of Demeo. In this episode, we take a hard look at Uhrak, champion of the arena. Uhrak is an indestructible force of pure rage. He has learned the violent rawness of combat, one punch at a time. He is a mid-ranged fighter with a physical damage focus. He takes on foes with brutality, resolve, and the infamous Hook of Varga, a weapon feared far and wide. It can be charged with energy, which is used when attacking with the Hook of Varga. It's expended automatically, and just enough for a kill, usually. It doesn't take armor into account, so hitting a Guardian or Gorgon with full armor will not kill them but leave them with 5 hit points. This also applies to the Song of Resilience. Varga is also expended on the Serpent Lord's clones. Those will drain your battery pretty quick. Against Ronth Scorpions, Varga is not expended when the attack is blocked. The same goes for enemies with absorbing shields, like root creepers. Grappling Hook is the Barbarian's replenishing card, allowing him to strike targets at medium range. You can target anything except yourself and points of interest. Regular attack damage applies to enemies and objects like eggs and sand piles. Light targets are pulled to an adjacent space. This can be used to thin the herd, remove barriers, or maneuver a friendly. No damage is done to friendlies, including charmed creatures, though environmental damage will be dealt in any case. Heavy targets pull the Barbarian to an adjacent space instead. The arrowhead indicates whether you or your target will be flying, and in which space they will end up. That's useful for selecting enemies that are invisible or shrouded in darkness, though it's still easy to grab friendlies by mistake. Empty spaces and piles of gold allow the Barbarian to travel a good distance with Grappling Hook. If you get caught in a web, the Barbarian can grapple his way out. A Ronth Scorpion's block ability is not effective against Grappling Hook attacks. Lamps are pulled to you. If no lamp is ready for launch, it is added to your hand as a special launch lamp card. Though limited by the supply of lamps found, this basically lets you store a free poison bomb, fireball, freeze, vortex, or a wet shattering voice. This card cannot be sold or recycled for mana. It can only be launched to medium range, targeting enemies, objects, lamps, and empty spaces, resulting in the lamp exploding on impact, plus 1 or 2 extra damage on a critical hit. This is basically a variant of the Grappling Hook card, and you can only use one of these cards per turn. Talakk's Hookstrike is a starting card, and at its most basic, operates similarly to the Grappling Hook. You can target enemies, objects, and lamps, and the target is always damaged. Lamps explode next to you, even if you have a free slot. Talakk also heals the Barbarian for 3 or 5 on a critical hit, and cures negative statuses, including those received moving on to a corrupt space using the card. A miss does no damage, but still pulls you or the target as expected. A hit on a charmed monster acts just like a miss. Pitfighter's is the other starting card. It has a short range, not limited by line of sight, and forms a circle around the Barbarian instead of a square, meaning he travels 7 spaces straight or 5 spaces diagonally. You can target any space, but if it's occupied, he will be moved to the nearest empty space.
Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
Damage is to a 3x3 area, not including the Barbarian. Enemies are knocked back 1 space if possible. You may think it's a good idea to try leaping behind a Scorpion to circumvent its block ability, but the attack position is calculated from your point of origin, not where you land. Varga's Retribution requires no roll and no action points. It has a short range and can target anything except points of interest, so long as there are enemies within the 5x5 area of effect. This allows the card to be used as an enemy detector. If you can't use the card on a space, there are no enemies within 2 spaces of it. Uhrak's Varga increases 2 points per enemy in the area of effect, and enemies can be harvested multiple times. The maximum Varga you can collect is 99, allowing you to one-shot any monster and even some bosses. Challenge! Build up your Varga and take out a boss in a single rage-fueled attack.
Rage fuels me!
Barbaric Chain Whip is a short-ranged attack that targets anything apart from the Barbarian and points of interest. It damages enemies, including charmed, objects and lamps, in the area of effect. The small amount of damage is ideal for uncovering sand piles. It's also good for delivering Varga to multiple targets, though it will drain it quickly. It sends light targets flying away from the Barbarian up to medium range. It's not super reliable, but you can launch enemies, lamps, and even team members over walls. Although you can't target yourself, you can still hit yourself in the area of effect, providing some unreliable air travel. Combo moves. Whipping lamps into unexplored areas can be fun. But it will also wake up a lot of enemies. I'm looking at you, Vortex Lamp. Howl of the Ancients is a medium-range attack that can target enemies in empty spaces as long as there are enemies within the area of effect. Again, enemy detector. Targets are weakened for 2 turns. All damage is cut in half, rounded down. Some prefer Warcry, but no monster is immune to weakened. And this can even take most bosses down a notch. Rift Servants can no longer drop lamps on you. 0 damage does not explode them. Combo moves. Stack that with Magic Shield and suddenly the strongest attacks are doing 1 damage. Add an Alag's Fighting Spirit and only creatures that hit for 8 damage can get through. Add a Courageous 1 and you're basically Superman. Weakened creatures also move slower. The description says half speed, but it's actually -1 speed per action. Most bipeds travel 2 spaces times 2 actions, and hounds travel 2 spaces times 3 actions. For these, movement is halved. Rats and scarabs travel 3 spaces, so their weakened movement drops to 2. And elven spearmen and heroes travel 4 spaces, so their weakened movement drops to 3. The Leviathan is a medium-range summons, which can be placed in any empty space. It has good mana value. The Leviathan lasts 4 turns. It is not targeted by enemies, but has 15 hit points. It snares light enemies, including charmed, within 2 spaces, and reels them back for 1 damage if they're moved. At the end of monster movement, new hooks go out to catch more within the 5x5 area of effect. Caught enemies have their movement reduced as if they were weakened. Then they are pulled back. The line snaps if the target moves 8 spaces away. Grappling Hook can do that, so playing tug of war with them isn't nearly as fun as it sounds. What's more fun is 2 Leviathans. If you drop 2 Leviathans in a turn, the catch from the first might be moved to the second, potentially over large distances, but this is very difficult to reproduce. Combo moves. Like a vortex, this pulls enemies close together, but the center point is unfortunately taken up by the Leviathan itself. This allows you to efficiently follow up with area of effect attacks. The Barbarian does well in the middle of the order. He can take advantage of the debuffs from hunters and sorcerers, and can pull them out of danger or lend his mobility to help them advance. He pulls enemies to the rest of the party and gives heroes at the end something to kill in isolation. That's all for today. If you learned something, go berserk on that like button, and I hope this helps you in your search for the Relic of Howl. This has been my Why. See you in Helmar.